At exactly 8:47 p.m., when the dinner rush was finally slowing down and her feet felt like they were filled with broken glass, Lena Whitmore looked at the receipt and felt her heart drop. Tip, $0. Her hands froze. For a moment, the noise of the diner faded, the clatter of plates, the hum of tired conversations, the buzz of the neon sign outside. All she could hear was the quiet, familiar voice in her head whispering, "Of course, why would today be any different?" But what Lena didn't know, what no one in that small roadside diner could have imagined, was that this zero tip was about to change her life in a way she would never forget. Lena was a single mother of a 6-year-old boy named Evan, the center of her universe and the reason she kept going, even when exhaustion wrapped around her like a second skin. She worked double shifts at Maple Fork Diner, a modest place just outside Cedar Ridge, where truckers, late-night travelers, and locals came for comfort food and quiet company. Every dollar mattered. Every tip helped pay for Evan's asthma medicine, his school lunches, the rent that was always a few days too close for comfort. That evening, the man had stood out the moment he walked in. Tall, calm, dressed simply but with an unmistakable confidence. His name, according to the credit card slip, was Thomas Hale. He ordered grilled salmon, black coffee, no dessert. Polite but distant, he barely touched his phone, barely looked around. Lena served him the same way she served everyone, with patience, warmth, and a tired smile she practiced in the mirror every morning. She refilled his coffee 3 times without being asked. She noticed his plate was always pushed slightly to the side, as if he didn't want it directly in front of him. When he finished, he nodded once and left quietly, not waiting for change. It was only when Lena picked up the receipt that she saw the tip line blank at first, then the printed total, 0. Her chest tightened. She didn't cry. She didn't curse. She just folded the receipt and slipped it into her apron, the way she did with disappointments she couldn't afford to feel yet. She still had tables to clear. When the diner finally emptied and the lights were dimmed, Lena began her usual closing routine. Wipe tables, stack chairs, collect plates. When she reached Thomas Hale's table, she noticed something strange. The plate felt heavier than it should have. Curious, she lifted it and froze. Taped neatly underneath the plate was a thick envelope. Her first instinct was panic. She glanced around, half expecting someone to shout at her. The diner was empty except for Martha, the cook, humming softly in the kitchen. Lena carefully removed the envelope, her fingers trembling. On the front, written in clean, steady handwriting, were just 2 words, "For Lena." Her breath caught. Inside the envelope was a handwritten letter and a folded document. The letter came first. "Lena," it read, "tonight I left you a $0 tip on purpose. Not because you didn't deserve one, but because I wanted you to notice what was hidden where most people never look. I've spent my life being judged by numbers, net worth, profits, losses. I wanted to see who you were without the promise of immediate reward." Lena felt her knees weaken and sat down in the booth. "I watched how you treated every customer, even when you thought no one important was looking. You reminded me of someone I once loved deeply, someone who worked hard, gave everything, and never complained. I lost her because I was too busy chasing success to notice her struggle." Her eyes blurred with tears. "I am a billionaire, yes, but that doesn't matter tonight. What matters is that I believe in people who keep going when life gives them nothing. Under this letter is a check and an opportunity. Use it however your heart tells you. No strings, no expectations." Her hands shook as she unfolded the document. It was a check for $250,000. Lena gasped, covering her mouth. She read the number again and again, convinced she was misreading it. But it was real. Attached was a business card, Thomas Hale, founder and CEO, Hale Industries. Martha came out of the kitchen just in time to see Lena crying openly. "Honey, what's wrong?" she asked, alarmed. Lena handed her the letter. Martha read it slowly, then looked up, stunned. "Oh my God," she whispered. That night Lena barely slept. Her mind raced with possibilities and fears. What if it was a mistake? What if the check bounced? But the next morning, after calling the number on the card, she spoke directly to Thomas Hale. "I meant every word," he said calmly. "And no, I don't want anything in return." With the money, Lena paid off her debts. Evan got the medical care he needed without her choosing between medicine and rent. But Lena didn't stop there. She remembered every exhausted face she'd seen behind diner counters, every coworker living paycheck to paycheck. 6 months later, with guidance from a small business advisor paid for, with a portion of that gift Lena opened Second Chance Cafe, a warm, welcoming place that hired single parents and offered flexible hours and childcare support. She named one corner table after Thomas, though he never asked for recognition. One evening, long after the cafe became successful, Thomas quietly walked in again. Lena recognized him instantly. "You didn't leave a tip this time either," she said softly, smiling. He smiled back. "I think you've already tipped the world enough." As Evan laughed behind the counter, healthy and happy, Lena realized something powerful. Sometimes what looks like nothing is actually the beginning of everything. And sometimes the real gift isn't the money, it's being seen when you feel invisible. That night, Lena taped a small sign under the counter where only she could see it: "Never judge a moment by what's written on the surface." And she never did again.